Rev from the Drowns, welcome.
How you doing?
Good. How's Seattle?
Oh, it's great. It's rainy today, like usual. Gray outside. It's nice though.
So before we jump into all the cool things that you've done, elevator pitch for those who don't know who the Drowns are. Um, I gotta tell my audience they are considered an oi band. So if you don't know what that is, now you're about to learn. So tell us who the Drowns are, how you guys got started, and then I got some hard hitting questions about some of my favorite songs on your
Oh, nice.
repertoire. So who are the Drowns?
So we were a bunch of Clash nerds who were all in other bands. Like each member has been doing this for 20 years apiece on our own. And then about 6 years ago now, we all had a break where like we weren't doing anything big. And we got together and we were like, hey, we should start a band that's the style of the music we love, which is, I mean, it's subjective, but obviously we're huge Cock Sparrow fans. We're big fans of oi and street punk, but also we're huge Clash nerds, and we love like 50s and 60s rock and roll, and that's like what we would all talk about when we would hang out. And so we started the band 6 years ago with that musically in mind, but also we wanted to start a band that just never stopped working. Like from day one, we had that talk where we were like, okay, if we're gonna do this, then if we're not recording, we're going to be on the road. If we're not on the road, we're going to be writing. If we're not writing, we're going to be recording. And we just never stop. And now we're 6 years later. It's like, it's worked. So far, so good.
So you guys mentioned the Clash, and when you listen to either your EP, your full length, the singles, I mean, it's just, you could tell the influence is strong there. And I think sometimes, people like say Rancid is like the Clash, and it's like, no, the Drowns are very influenced by the Clash. And how did you guys, like, what were you doing before the Drowns musically?
So I was in a band for like 12 to 15 years called Success. It was it's like a pop punk Americana band. And Andy, who plays bass in the Drowns, was playing keys. He actually played like organ in that band. And we toured a ton, like a shit ton. And that's how I met Jake. Jake, the drummer for the Drowns, was playing in, at the time we met, he was playing in the Briggs from
Yeah.
LA. And, but he used to be in Madcap back in the day, and he was in Time Again. So he's just been around, like for years. And, so we all started, like, we all toured nonstop. And Success was on tour with 7 Seconds, and the Briggs jumped on some of those shows. And that's how I met, like, I really got to know Jake, and we immediately like became best friends on that tour. And then that following tour, like 7 Seconds asked Success to do another tour, but on the East Coast. And I asked, our drummer couldn't go, so I asked Jake to fill in. And that was the first time he and I really were playing together. And that was like 2015, maybe.
Okay.
And that was us and Bishop's Green and 7 Seconds on that tour. It was a fucking phenomenal tour.
Right on. Right. Well, Time Again was a great band who
Absolutely. Yeah.
unfortunately, I don't think they got their moment in the sun, if you will. But you guys have had, for 2023, you guys have so far, with the first couple of weeks in, been pretty busy.
Yeah.
You guys did the new 7-inch with who is it? Plisken?
Yeah, Pliskin from Germany. Yeah.
Did I say that right? Okay.
Yeah, you did. You nailed it. Yeah.
And then Cock Sparrow, the tribute. What is Cock like? You can hear them completely in you guys as well. Their influence. What was that like? I mean, Riot Squad is like one of their kind of most well-known songs. Like, how did you guys pick that? Or was it Skip who gave that to you? Or how did that come about?
So we love that band. And when we've played with them a good amount of times now, and I can't say enough nice things about those guys. Like we were a little intimidated, to be honest, like stepping into this world. We're not an angry oi band. We're not like a tough oi band or street punk or any of that. We're like the nice guys on the block. So, so we're always afraid that when we get on a bill with these like bigger bands that have this reputation, that we're going to look like the fucking Mickey Mouse Club or something, So we were real intimidated, but every single time we've played with those guys, they just got more and more. They became more and more of our friends, and now I love all of them to death. So it was a real honor to be able to be on that comp celebrating this anniversary for them, because 50 years that's a fucking what an accomplishment, you know?
Right.
Like we could all be so lucky to be doing this for that long. And so we actually used to cover Working and Riot Squad live just for fun. And we decided to record. I think it might have been our producer Ted Hutt who said we should record it, but we decided to record that when we recorded our last EP, Lunatics. And so we had just had it. We had it like in the gun, like waiting to go. And we were just like, we record shit tons, and we record covers. And down the road, I'm sure there will be like a B sides and rarities collection that has like tons of that stuff. But we just always are recording, and so we have like backed up stuff ready to go. And Skip was like, "Oh shit, this is perfect because I haven't told anybody, but I have this idea." So it was just good timing on our part that we had already recorded it.
That's awesome.
We kind of lucked out because then also our track was already done, so we got to call dibs before anyone even knew the comp was a thing.
So when Lunatics came out, I actually heard about you guys. I ordered a Pirate Press hoodie, I think back in 2019, and I got a feminist flamethrower sticker
Hell yeah.
in my order. And that's one of the things I've always appreciated about what Pirate Press does is it doesn't matter what you could order a Susie Moon, vinyl, and you're getting tons of other stuff from other bands. And it's a great way for Pirate Press really to promote their artists and stuff like that. And so I got that and I went and checked you guys out. I heard Them Rats. And I was like, this is a banger of a song right here. And I love the message behind it, but it really seemed like with the Lunatics EP, it was like you guys are very I don't want to say political. Would you say political? It's very social causes in a lot of ways. It seemed like with Lunatics, y'all were just done. Like, all right, we're going for it. Lockdowns has sucked. Here we go. This is what we're doing. What was the mindset going into the Lunatics with the Lunatics EP?
Well, I mean, you nailed it with that assumption. It's like we had to write that. We actually wrote that whole thing during lockdown. Like right. we were emailing parts back and forth because we couldn't go see each other. We lived not far, but we couldn't go because of the pandemic. So we were literally, for the first time ever, we're just emailing parts to each other, and then we would record our parts at home and send them back and talk about it. And that whole EP was built that way, which was like absolutely weird for us. But the cool thing it did was, there's both ways to look at it. On one hand, meeting in a room with your friends and playing music and writing it that way there's nothing better. It's like a feeling and an energy that you get that kind of transmits itself into the music. And I think you can hear that with some bands. But with this one, we were able to take the songs, like I was able to put them in my car. Like when the pandemic was like really thick and shit was going down and we were like all staying home to be safe, I would at night, like at midnight, I would just get in my car and drive through the city because no one was around. And it was cool. Obviously I wouldn't get out and go anywhere, but I was just driving around the streets of the city that I love. And I would play the songs that we wrote and the parts, and I would think about them as I was going. So that's really how I wrote all my parts of that record, was like driving around Seattle at night when no one was around and just concentrating fully on the songs. So it was an interesting take. And I think the best thing to come of that was we got this new way of talking to each other about the songs that was more in depth than it was before. It wasn't just like before it was fine, but it was like, that sounds awesome. And that's the end of the conversation, So with this, we were able to like analyze stuff more. So I think it really lends itself to our songwriting now, which is cool.
Now, during lockdown, did you guys have a bunch of stuff planned and then everything canceled? Because that seemed to be what happened to a lot of bands. It's like, we're going on a world tour, and now I'm driving through the streets of Seattle at night because it's deserted.
Yeah, and we did have a world tour planned.
Did you really?
There was a bunch of tours that got canceled, a bunch of like big festivals and stuff. But luckily, we've already been able to get back to some of those. Like, now that things have been opening up more and more, we were able to get back to some of that stuff. And arguably, a lot of festivals were super fucking cool about like everything going on pause, and then they were good to their word that we were able to play the next one.
Right.
that happened. So we were really lucky in that aspect. But yeah, 2020 canceled. Everything got canceled. We had so much planned because if you remember, we put out Under Tension in January of fucking 2020.
Right.
So like right before the perfect worst time to put out an album, like right before everything shut down. So
Now, see, like we're gonna get. I want to talk about Under Tension as well because that was my first handshake with you guys. But 2023, we've done the split 7-inch. We've done the Cock Sparrow tribute. Do we have a new album coming? Are we going to be doing? I know you guys got some tour dates coming up, but are we going to be? We're going to be. Are you guys going to come to Nashville, Tennessee, and let me take you out for some Nashville hot chicken? Where are you guys headed?
absolutely.
Let's go. Come on.
Um,
What's on the books for 2023 for you guys?
Here's an exclusive for you. We're going back in the studio literally all of February to make a new album. No, but we haven't talked about that yet. So
Awesome. And that will be on Pirate Press.
yeah, absolutely. Until they kick us off, we're gonna be on that label. Until Skip gets tired of us, I'm gonna keep begging him to put out our records. So
Now, I'll jump up a little bit. Tell me about the relationship with Pirate Press. How'd you guys come to be on the label? What is it like from your experience being in other, in other bands with other labels? Like, it just seems like Skip really does have kind of the pulse. I mean, he's got his thumb on the genre right now. So what is that relationship like for the Drowns and for you personally? Because you're kind of like you're the manager, you're the scheduler, you're the booker. Like, what has that relationship with Pirate Press been like for you guys?
so I think a really good a really good way to look at it is that labels have different things that they want, right?
Mhm.
Like arguably all of them want to make money, but the way that they want to do that is all different. And Pirates Press, I think what's taken them so long to really catch on, and now they have, and they're like on the forefront, is that since day one, they've been doing it because they love the music,
Right.
and that's it. They haven't been doing it for, clout. They haven't been doing it to strictly just make money. It's literally just because they got other ways that they make money. The label is just a passion for them. And everybody that works there, all of the pirates are like the nicest people in the world. And any of them, I could call them in the middle of the night and be like, I need help with something. And they would all jump to the chance. And I think there's something to be said about that because I have worked with a lot of other labels over the years. All of us in the Drowns have. And, um, you know, I don't want to burn any bridges, but a lot of those folks they have different things that they focus on.
Right.
Whereas Skip and Pirates are absolutely only focused on putting out good records by artists they truly love and supporting us. So that's another thing that makes them different is that I have complete creative control. Like I can bring anything to the table. I have ideas in the middle of the fucking night and I'll email Skip and I'll wake up to an answer and he'll be like, that's great, let's do it. Or like, we'll talk about whatever the idea is. And I've never had that with other labels. It's been
Right.
like, this is what we're doing. This is what the contract says. And then we'll talk about the next album later. When we joined the label, Skip was like, I love your band so much that I'll always just put out your albums if you want. He's like, whatever we got to do. And I was like, okay. So the story real quick of how we got on there, younger bands are always asking us like, how did you do it? And I always just tell them it kind of was like a kismet kind of thing. Like we didn't seek it out. We're just really nice guys. We're nice to fucking everyone.
Right.
And that's that's helped us more than anything. We're nice to everyone. And with that said, we're also we're workaholics. So we go on tour constantly. And so we were on the road. We were playing at a brewery in Oakland to no one, like to literally no one. When we showed up at the brewery, it was like our first, I think it was our first tour ever. And we just booked it with some friends of ours. And we showed up at the brewery and the brewery was like, there's a show tonight. And we're like, fuck, yeah, there's a show tonight. So we were like, can we play? And they let us play. And it was like the day before Valentine's Day. And some guy I didn't know with glasses, like some tall, gangly, goofy looking guy, shows up and he has a bunch of 7-inch flexies that are in the shape of a heart that they did special for Valentine's Day from the band D Cracks.
Okay. Yeah.
And so that was Gowdy from Pirates Press. And so he watched our set and was like, holy shit, I love your band. Like I have to start talking to my boss about that. And I was like, yeah, of course, whatever. And at that point, we didn't even have anything recorded. We were on that tour headed to the studio. So we hadn't recorded shit. And so since day one, they've been supportive. And the conversations just started from there. And after we self-released with some buddies, our first album, View from the Bottom, immediately after that, Skip was like, "I'm in, let's do it." And so we really lucked out. But it is those two things. We toured before we even had anything recorded. We just got on the road to get on the road, and then we were just nice to everybody, and that kind of paved the way for us, I guess.
I tell so many up and coming artists, whether it be a punk band, a metal band, a rapper, whatever, you do not understand how important being a nice person is, and just not having this rock star attitude. And I told you before we started how easy it was to set up this interview with you and, talking to the rest of the guys on Instagram and everything. And don't ever lose that, because people will, man, they'll roll out the red carpet for you if you're actually a really nice person, and don't be a doormat or anything and have people walk all over you, but also don't have that attitude. Because I know, as well as I do, we've met artists before that were like, "Oh, it's going to be so cool to meet them. I can't." And then you meet them and you go, "I should have never met this guy. It changed my whole perception on their music or their band."
Absolutely.
So with you guys being on Pirate Press, and you said that you basically have full creative control. So you guys get to pick the album cover. Hey, this is the songs we're doing. Is there any involvement from Pirate Press, or is it just, do you guys have free reign?
No, there's a ton. If we wanted to just specifically pick what we wanted for everything, they would be cool with it. But we reach out to them to where I'm like, because they're a whole crew of people with incredible ideas who are just as smart, if not smarter than I am about making these things. Right. So like their art team has helped us a ton. And even if I just like need inspiration for an album cover or something, all of them kind of pitch in helping us with that. So we could absolutely just make the calls on our own, but we lean on them just because they're great creative people. So that's awesome. We have that open door to be able to always ask, which is really cool.
I interviewed your label mate, Susie Moon, and she's been on a bunch of other labels as well. Yeah. And she couldn't say enough great things about Skip and Pirate Press and all that. So that's awesome to hear. Now, with you guys basically being a DIY band, what have you learned over the last 10, 12, 15 years of doing this, from where you came from to where you are today? Like, what can you share with those bands that are coming up that are the scheduler, the booking agent, the art director, the songwriter, all of that? Rev, what can you give us? What you have learned, the shrapnel that you still have from all your years of being in doing the do-it-yourself thing.
So number one is don't stop working. Like if you're just hanging out, nothing is going to happen. And you're basically delaying the inevitable good thing that could happen. So don't stop. If you're stagnant, get on the road, book a tour on your own, message venues, message promoters, message other bands. That's a big one. And obviously we said, be nice to everybody. Like that's huge. Do you know how many opportunities we've gotten tour wise with bigger bands just because we're a good hang? Like that's like, that's it. It's like I would argue that some of those guys didn't even like our music, but they liked hanging out. And so we got the tour, And so that's a big one. Also, without getting too deep into it, I guess the minute that I stopped caring what other people thought about the music I wrote is the minute I started to write good music. So I think that's part of it too, is like, think about your goals, think about why you're in it, and then let those goals burn into you until you can't take it anymore,
I do think a lot of artists, and there's artists who have 1 million listens on Spotify. They're well into their career. They're very successful. And it seems like all they're doing is still responding to criticism or people not liking their music. And it's like, you can't spend your whole time worrying about what other people think, or that's going to be your crutch. So it's very refreshing to hear you say that. Now you guys have seemed to do a lot of European stuff. Why do you think the US hasn't fully embraced Oi and the Rude Boys and all of those subgenres? They'll listen to pop punk all day long, but how has it been versus like touring in the US versus touring in Europe, where you guys seem to have a lot of love for the band?
Yeah, the Europe and the UK have been incredible to us. Like we're literally planning right now our whole year on going back there a couple times. Like they've been great to us. I think for the first half of that question, I think there still is a stigma around approaching certain parts of this genre, right?
Right.
Like, Americans don't have the culture and background when it comes to knowing about skinheads that like the UK or Europe would have. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely it's it kid in a kid in a no effects t-shirt with a smile from the suburbs in America is a lot easier to approach than like a skinhead in a Fred Perry who looks gnarly, even if he's a nice guy. You know what I mean? So I think that's something they gotta that probably has delayed a lot of the and I don't want to pretend like there's not validity to that argument because obviously there's tons of shitheads too. So it's like
Right.
I understand people's hesitation, but I will say that the pop punk like Americana community I was in before was fine, but I have never been welcomed and supported with open arms in a way that I am in this community that the Drowns play in, and
Right.
I wouldn't change it for the fucking world. It's people who still give a shit about music, you know what I mean? And that's the big one. It's like I don't know, you're not being sold. You're not being sold as much garbage. You're
Mhm.
being sold real music, real rock and roll for people who actually want to make it, and those people are buying it. I like to think the people who buy our records, they had to go through some hoops to find us because we're not the biggest band in the world. It's like
Right.
they had to search us out. So that means they wanted to find good music, and that means the world to me. So I think it's a matter of time with the U.S. And I mean, I would say record sales and like ticket sales are already showing that it's really coming up here. So I think you're going to see a big push in like, I mean, look at the fucking Interrupters; they're killing it. Like you're going to
Right.
see a big push in ska and a big push in I think street punk and oi, and then a big push in like mod culture bands, like jam worship style bands.
Right.
If I had to make an assumption, I would say in the next 2-3 years, there's going to be a comfortable comeback of that.
The thing about the punk world, and I grew and I don't look the part anymore, if you will. Um, you would go to like more of like the more mainstream stuff and you would see the punk gatekeepers and they would
Yeah, of course.
be,
Yeah,
oh, you're not punk or whatever. And it's like, there's no rules in punk. Now the gatekeepers have to go and tell you what punk is. And then you flip. And then like if you go to like the punk rock bowling and music festival, you'll have the gatekeepers, but then you'll also have like those like skinheads, but not the good ones, like the
yeah,
racist ones. And it's like, what is your problem, man? It's 2023 or 2022. And that's where I think a lot of times punk you have the people who go, to be real punk, you got to be like this. And then on the flip side, you also have the racists, the white nationalists, those people. And then in the middle of it is the people who love the culture, love the music, like all of that. And it's hard to get into this when you got so many other people trying to play gatekeeper for the genre.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I like I said, I understand the hesitation. What, like, why would I not? I think a lot of people, even when the Drowns started up, were like a little questioning getting on board, like if they were fans of other projects we were into, but they it's I think also the culture of racism in the United States is also shifting to where like
Yes.
they all look like most of those guys are like either crazy rednecks or in suits now. They're not like
Right.
skinheads anymore because it's like it's like that the Richard Spencer kind of thing or the Proud Boys, even though they tried to steal the Fred Perry, but it's like those guys, they don't come to these shows maybe every now and then, but they don't come to these shows as much anymore because they're outnumbered. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
And I think we wear our beliefs on our sleeves, so they also know they would have a pretty bad time at our show if they showed up with all legal comments, like
Right.
without they would not have a good time, and I
Right.
would make sure of that. So, I think that's a big part of it too. I do think as far as the racist part of it, they're either hiding when they're at those shows and not wanting to bring it up, or they're listening to like shitty country and stuff now because that, parts of that world welcome them. So it's
Well,
like,
that's what I was going to say. They don't need to. They don't need to infect the punk world anymore because in some circles they're the mainstream now. That racist white nationalist thing.
yeah,
So playing in a band, you mentioned that how you guys got on Pirate Press. There was nobody at the show. I think a lot of artists at times they'll go, they're going to go do their first show. The band gets together. They've been practicing or whatever. Nobody shows up, and then they just kind of throw in the towel. How many times starting off were you guys like, we're playing to our friends? And how were you able to just keep going with that disappointment?
you got to not care, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the big thing. Like we all agreed when we started this band that we're just doing it because we love rock and roll, and
Right.
that's the end of it. You know what I mean? And so I mean this from the bottom of my heart, honestly, if there's one person in that crowd, but that one person gives a shit, we're good. Like that's all that I need. I'd rather play to one person who truly gives a shit and wants to listen and is there for like rock and roll, than
Right.
to play to 20,000 people who don't give a fuck. Like,
Right.
like
Right.
I would much rather play to one person who's going to buy that record or one person, like it hasn't changed for me since day one of making rock and roll. Like I want to make everybody's life better that's there. I want someone to forget about their shitty mom and dad who are mean to them, or their teachers who suck, or their bosses who suck ass, or all these troubles. If I can help them escape that for an hour a night, and give a little pause to the monotony that we all have to deal with, why would I not do that? And so I don't need a crowd to do that. I just need one person to pay attention.
On the new album that you broke, that you guys are going to be starting to record, do you have a tentative of when it will be released? First and foremost,
No, not yet. No,
not yet. And then
it depends. Yeah.
what is the theme going to be? Do you have a theme for this? Is there just, I mean, because with Under Tension, it was, I mean, Them Rats is once again a banger song, but we knew exactly where you were going with that song. We knew exactly how pissed you were. And then, like I talked about Lunatics, when it was like, all right, enough's enough. Here we go. We're going for it. Are you guys going to continue down that road, or like just socially, where are you going with the next album and your songwriting?
Well, that's a great question. We've talked about is how we like just the same sentiment from that last question as we want to just keep uplifting people. So does that mean we're going to stop pulling things to the forefront that we think people need to see, like songs like Them Rats or Cue the Violins? No, we'll never fucking stop doing that. Like, Joe Strummer from the Heaven Above would come down and kick my ass if I didn't use this little bit of power, to do good. But, I mean, you can't stop us smiling. So, it's kind of like that happy feeling is going to bleed into this record a bunch too. But we're working with the same producer again, who, did both Lunatics and, Under Tension. This guy named Ted Hutt, who's like a famous Grammy Award winning producer. And he's like the sweetest guy. And we just get along with him really well. So usually the direction of the album comes from us writing songs, but then sitting down with Ted.
Okay.
And we really start to formulate. And we're there for we're in Los Angeles recording with him for the entire month of February. Okay. So a lot of time to make the album, and I'm sure it'll really start to hone in about halfway through the month, probably.
Okay. Just a few more questions for you, and then I'm gonna let you go.
You're good. Yeah, of course.
I think one of the things that you mentioned it, and listening to your music, then getting on YouTube, watching the videos, watching you guys post on Instagram, it really is true. Like in a genre where you really kind of have to be a little bit pissed off all the time, you guys truly are like the happy, nice guys and the genre. So I think that's awesome. And I just wanted to call you out on that real quick. And, one of the things that I like to ask artists when I interview them is, if this all ended today for you, what would be the thing that you'd be most proud of from the Drowns and your previous bands and stuff like that? Like, what's the one thing that you are like, you know what, if it ended today, I am happy that we accomplished X?
So I think realistically, like there's tons of things I could name, big festivals we've played, big bands we've opened for. I think realistically, at the end of the day, if everything stopped tomorrow, I'd be so happy that I was able to create something that was positive with people I care about, you
Right.
know? Like that alone is a goal. And it's tough. Being in a band is like being married. You're navigating personalities, you're dealing with everyone's bullshit. You're in a metal cylinder going down the highway 16 hours a day. You're only playing for 1 hour. So like you're really just like sitting with four assholes all day
Right.
long. So I think the fact that we've created a community amongst ourselves and amongst pirates, like these people we work with, that I'm more proud of that than any song I've ever written. Like I feel like we're actually a part of something big and good. With that said, them rats, when Trump was voted out, Democracy Now, the podcast and the news network, used them rats in the background of people celebrating in the streets, and that was a big achievement for me.
Oh man, I bet that was awesome for you guys.
Yeah, it was really really cool to be able to like feel like to feel like someone thought that was the right song for that was really big for me. Because that's like I love that news station, and
Mm-hmm.
it's community funded. It's like no corporation is paying for them, so that was pretty big. And honestly, the first tour to Europe blew my mind. Like the fact that so many people who couldn't speak English very well knew every fucking word, and like
That's awesome.
like
Yeah.
that was unreal. It was crazy to play. Like we also toured Japan, and that was nuts. Like touring Japan was crazy. We ended up getting stuck in an earthquake and a typhoon and had to be evacuated in Tokyo. But other than that, it was awesome. Also playing on an aircraft carrier with Cock Sparrow in the San Francisco harbor was pretty amazing.
Yeah, that was what was that? Pirates weekend?
Yeah, rock the ship in
Rock the ship.
2019.
Yep, rock the ship. Because I was actually in New York. Rancid was playing Madison Square Garden, and Lars had to leave.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
he had to leave, like fly overnight to get to go play with the Old Firm Casuals for Rock the Ship.
yeah.
So it was kind of one of those things that okay, Madison Square Garden or cool punk festival on a pirate ship, and I was like, we'll go with New York City. It's closer to Nashville.
Yeah, it's tough.
Now, if people want to get in contact with you guys, give out your links. How can they get a hold of you? Where can they go to find out more about the Drowns?
Yeah, at the Drowns everywhere. We are the Drowns on Twitter, but at the Drowns anywhere on the internet. And honestly, the best place to get like merch or records or really get in contact with us is at Pirates Press, at their website. They run our entire merch store, and they're perfect about like getting us hooked up with people and getting us to be able to talk to anybody who's trying to get a hold of us. So
okay, and they do have cool merch. You guys have a hoodie that I was looking at, a zip up hoodie the other day. So because it's cold in Nashville right now. We're at a blistering 45 degrees at the moment. So and this is cold for us here.
nice.
So we need
Yeah,
more.
well, just when we get done, just send me your address. I got you. Let me know what you want.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
When the album comes out and you guys are touring, can I bring you back on to talk about the new album and see where the growth has come in the last 6 months? Because it'll probably be about 6 months, right? You think in the middle of summer or so?
Yeah.
Okay. And then,
yeah, absolutely, man. I would love that, dude.
okay. And kind of one of the things I do for my audience, I have a Spotify playlist and an Apple Music playlist, and I put a new song in there every week. And so I'm going to put them rats in there for you guys. There's a couple of thousand people who subscribe to it. So we're going to not only are they going to hear the interview, but we're also going to introduce them to, I think, probably one of the greatest songs I've heard over the last 10 years is Them Rats. So I know it's from a previous album, but I mean, Hold Fast and even the cover of The Harder They Come is, I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, are you kidding me? Like they covered that song. Like, that's awesome. So we're going to put that on there. And, Rev, I appreciate your time. And don't be a stranger. Remember, when you come to Nashville hot chicken on me. We'll go have a good time. And I'll show you the best place, because I know everybody in the country is trying to mimic our Nashville hot chicken, but we're the OGs of Nashville hot chicken. So Rev from the Drowns, thank you so much for your time. Good luck in the studio. And we will have you back once the album releases.
Thanks, man. We'll talk soon.
All right, buddy. Thank you.